Welcome, everyone, to the Naturalist sponsor Soundbyte. I'm Nancy Coulter-Parker, Director of Content Marketing at New Hope Network, and I'm here today with our Naturalist sponsor, Lakanto, to hear how they got started, what's unique about their product, and how their production values elevate both company and product. And my guest is Jeff Trippett, Vice President of Distribution Sales. Thanks for joining us today, Jeff.
Nancy, thanks for having me. We're super excited to be here. I'm glad to represent Lakanto.
Lakanto was established in 2015 by creating innovative, delicious, reduced sugar products. Could you talk about the driving force behind the creation of Lakanto?
I would love to. Lakanto was created in 2015 in the United States, but monk fruit was created, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure, during this podcast, and between 1990 and 1993 in Japan. Lakanto is actually a Japanese word, roughly translated means sweet fruit. But it came to the United States in 2015, and it came to the United States, and it didn't really do well in Japan. It did okay, but it didn't do great. But when it came to America, it did really well. And I think part of the reason it did very well is because of the health crisis that we have in America. 1 in 3 people have diabetes, don't know they have diabetes, or they have pre-diabetes. The average American, there's 2 different studies. One says that we use 60 pounds of sugar a year. Another one says we use 80 pounds of sugar a year. But we're supposed to be using about 9 to 15 pounds of sugar a year, depending if you're a male or a female. If you were to use Lakanto and just put it in your coffee and your tea every day, the average American can minus 29 pounds of sugar out of their diet every year, bringing that 60 pounds of sugar down to almost half. And so that would really help the average American in their diet.
Why monk fruit? What are the unique attributes of monk fruit that drew the company to it and that actually can make this happen, this reduction happen?
That's a great question. Our company started shortly after World War II, and it started as a hand sanitizing company. And that's really interesting. They got to monk fruit. But shortly after World War II, a lot of people were dying just because of dysentery and things like that. We experienced a lot of that during the COVID run, where people were spreading disease they were always telling us to wash our hands, use a hand sanitizer. Well, disease after World War II in Japan was spreading rampant. And a guy named Shota Soraya, he invented a hand sanitizer, and it was very successful, and it saved thousands and thousands of lives. And that kind of turned into a laundry detergent and, fabric softeners and dish detergent. And next thing you know, he's got this $1 billion business going in Japan. He had diabetes as a young man, and he always had diabetes. He could have just walked into the sunlight with his millions of dollars and just called it a day. But he said, why don't we do something about this? Why don't we sit down and try to find a new way to get people off of sugar? They came across a research paper between 1990 and 1993. And it was by a student, and it talked about monk fruit, which was only grown in one region of the country, and that was in southeastern China. And several of the people from Soraya, which is the parent company of Lakanto, hopped on a plane, went to China, and they knew that they had found something. They knew that they had found the starting product to invent another sugar. Why does it work? Because it's about 260 to 300 times as sweet as sugar. And if you mix it with an erythritol or an allulose, you can get a 1-for-1 sugar replacement without an aftertaste, and it doesn't have any adverse effects to your glucose levels.
With that, the company has a strong commitment to both where and how the monk fruit is grown.
Yeah, it's only grown in one area of the country, and that's in southeastern China. And it's always been grown there. One of the cool stories that I love telling about this is, and I'm so proud of this, is when they had found out about monk fruit and that it was only grown in this one region of the country, they couldn't get to it without walking there. They couldn't drive a truck up there. The roads were just complete mud, and it was a disaster. Before we ever made a profit at Lakanto, we invested in that area of the country with infrastructure, roads and plumbing and buildings, which was very important for those people. So before Lakanto ever took a profit on monk fruit sweetener, we are the company that invented monk fruit sweetener, we put that infrastructure in. But we have and it's really unique what's going on there. It's located 2 to 4 hours away from any major city, and it's about 1,500 to 3,000 feet in elevation, and it has to be on at least a 15% slope. And we do reforesting to it as well. Every 3 to 5 years, we plant trees next to these monk fruit shrubs or bushes, and then we rotate them every 3 to 5 years, which really helps the soil. And we do not use a pesticide. It's all done naturally by hand, which is really a great technique, and that's what really sets Lakanto apart.
That's fantastic. Well, how does monk fruit then differ from other sweeteners on the market? How is it best used?
Oh, you can use it anywhere where you use sugar. Whether you start in the morning, an example I talked about earlier today with coffee and tea, you could use it in a cereal, you could use it in your oatmeal, you could use it wherever you bake. What really makes it set apart, though, I think, is a lot of times when you're using an alternate sugar, we've all had that experience where you use an alternate sugar and there's just this nasty aftertaste that comes afterwards. You go, okay, this is it. I finally found one. And then there's an aftertaste and it's like, oh, this is awful. But with ours, there's not the aftertaste. There's no adverse effects that come along with it after you start using it. That's what really sets us apart. And that's why we've had so much success. And I think another thing that sets us apart at Lakanto is our customer service and our passion. We know we have a great product. We know we invented it, but the people that work here too have a passion about our product. And when you come and you see us at a trade show or at any kind of event across the country, you're going to see people that really love working right where we work. And we're really proud of the products that we make and the innovation that we have.
That's fantastic. Well, we'd love to hear more about the 1/3 sweeteners you've recently launched. What was the why behind these products and what specific needs were you looking to address during development?
Yeah, in fact, today is the very first day that it's going in a store. We are going into Publix today with this item right here.
Oh, congrats.
And I'll tell you a little bit about it. It's going in their shelves today on January 26th, the day we're recording this. We're really proud of that. So the unique thing about it is we believe in sugar reduction. A lot of people can get confused with Lakanto saying, well, you need to get off of sugar. You got to be completely off sugar. I think that's just hard to believe. I mean, I work at Lakanto and I like M&Ms, believe it or not. And I may even snack on them here at work, but I believe in reducing my sugar. And I think everybody should believe in reducing my sugar. If I eat too many M&Ms, back to my example, I feel inflammation. When I go for a run or ride my bike, I can feel inflammation. And inflammation's the devil. You don't want inflammation. This is just one of many things that can go wrong if you have too much sugar in your body. But think about this. This is a cane sugar where you only have to use 1/3 of the sugar. So the inspiration behind this is we came up with monk fruit sweetener and we sprayed it on cane. We also took monk fruit sweetener and we sprayed it on date. And we took monk fruit sweetener and we sprayed it on coconut. And now you can use this with almost 300 times the sweetest sugar and you spray it on there. You don't have to use as much. So the inspiration was let people use a cane sugar where you don't have to use as much. You're using a reduced amount of sugar going into your body each and every day. We need to reduce, like an example I gave at the beginning of this podcast, we need to be reducing our sugar. And if you simply just use Lakanto products in your coffee and tea, you can knock 30 pounds of sugar out of your diet every year. And now you're on the right track.
Fantastic. Well, where can people find the product?
Oh, we're everywhere. These 3 products right here, these I can only hold 2 at a time, but they are going to be in Kroger. Kroger has now taken them. They're going to be in their shelves in June. They are going to be on the shelves of Wegmans in the next month. They're going to be in Giant Foods soon. They're going to be on Publix starting today. And we have more coming soon. Hopefully a lot more coming soon. We'll have over 8,000 points of distribution on a product that we just announced in October. And so they're coming many more places, but we have our whole lineup is available at pretty much every grocery store in America. You can go anywhere and find us at Walmart, Kroger, Publix. In California, we're everywhere. We're Whole Foods, we're in Sprouts. There's not a place we're not.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate your time. And again, our sponsor today has been Lakanto. Our guest today has been Jeff Trippett, VP of Distribution Sales. Thank you, Jeff. And to our audience, thank you for listening and have a great day.